I first met them and they were doing the songs acoustically, and then I saw their band and it was Paul and Aaron was playing drums, and I remember saying, you know, Paul was kind of like, looked like he was worrying about what he was going to do tomorrow when he was playing the bass, and Aaron was playing a lot of drum fills, and that's something that happens with everyone at a young age when they're playing. And they took that criticism and worked with it, but it was really when Billy ended up joining the band, I think that it turned around and really started to become like, they started to really get that wow factor.
And it's just in our blood, you know, so it's not something that we have to think about. It's just like there.
We all probably got jobs when we were like 14 or 15 years old and worked, you know, just as hard since then as we did now. The job's just a little bit cooler.
They always wanted to be rock stars. I mean, they didn't, you know, it wasn't about anything other than we are going to do this. They were convinced they were going to do it. There was never a doubt in their mind.
It was a very loud, full, simple chord rock and roll sound that worked. And then they brought Billy in. I think Billy definitely added a whole new edge to it. He's got his definite personality and his style of playing and his look.
Well, I'd have to say the first time I saw him play was at Armadillo's, like with a band, was at Armadillo's. And I remember seeing him, and I would always say, Joe, why don't you play guitar or something? You're just standing up there singing. And he's like, no, I got to be able to move around. And just watching him move that way, it was almost like, wow, who's this kid, man? I know this other person, he's so shy and quiet, and now he's just like trying to be a little rock star.
There was a significant change in the band. You know, there was suddenly much more professional and much more interactive with the audience.
Good Charlotte were beginning to attract serious attention, recording demos and listening to advice from older and wiser friends in the business. A big break came when they were offered the chance to play the local band stage at the major HFS Festival, run by respected local radio station, HFS.
HFS had a long history of coming from the true underground radio station ethic. A lot of the UK bands, things like that, like The Cure and early U2 and stuff like that, were really, really helped by this station. It had a huge underground following. So the station would put on at RFK Stadium, which holds 60,000 people, all-day events. And then on the outside perimeter, they would have a street stage, which was like the lesser-known acts, and then they would have a local stage on top of that. So if you were lucky enough to be a local band that would get on the HFS local stage, it was a big deal. And people would be flyering. They would make it pretty much a big event to run their touring around as a high-profile kind of deal, so they could use that as a jump start to get their careers going or get noticed, you know, on the radio level. Because in the U.S., radio is so important to people's careers. If your band did well at HF Festival, boom, you could get noticed by label people and you're off and running. Jimmy Ha-Ha was booked by Richard Burgess and Chris Keith at that time, and they were instrumental in putting who they thought were the best bands of the area on the local stage at the HF Festival.
Good Charlotte was able to start opening up on the side stages for them, and then at that point they became a crowd regular favorite, especially the Baltimore and DC area. And with people like Billy Zero, who was there behind them trying to help them get into it.
I booked the band to play these ticket raids that we had. So when the HF Festival sold out, you know, we sold out 80,000 tickets, the concert sold out, everybody wanted tickets, so we did these ticket raids where we'd show up at a sponsored event somewhere, like a Guitar Center, and we'd sit out in the parking lot and we'd, have 200 people come out and watch Good Charlotte play, and then we'd give away tickets. And we'd come with 25 pair of tickets to this sold-out event that was a coveted event to try to get to. It was literally evident from the emails that we were getting and the calls that we were getting from the fans that this band was on to something, because the people were coming out to ticket raids, not just for the tickets, but to see this band Good Charlotte play.
It's very hard to get airplay on radio in America if you don't have a record deal. But playing those kinds of festivals, and then there are always the other little gigs that are sponsored by the radio station, is a good way to sort of start building a relationship with the radio station.
When Jimmy's Chicken Shack was playing the main stage on the tour of their second album, I think, he made it a point in front of 60,000 people to say, hey, go check out the local stage, because people like Good Charlotte are playing and stuff like that, and that's where they came from. So he was always really good about promoting that kind of stuff. Good Charlotte went from playing the local stage to the street stage the year I did this other band called Nothing Face, which is a big heavy metal act out of this area. And we were second to the last, and Good Charlotte headlined that. And then the very next year, they played the main stage 2 days in a row. So it was kind of crazy.
They were finally able to play the main stage, and that's when they really hit it. That's right when the album, the self-entitled album, came out, with Little Things being the most popular thing on the radio at that point in this area.
Now gigging all over the Baltimore-Washington area, the band were building a young, solid fan base, as well as working on recording their material.
A friend of mine, Matt, he's a sound man on the road, and he came to me with a demo tape, which actually I brought with me. This demo tape, which I've had, I don't know why I still have it, but Benji had given it to him, and for us to maybe co-manage their band. And I listened to it, and I wasn't feeling it. So I lost out. Yeah, but he went on to do some stuff with them, my friend Matt did, and then they disappeared for a while. I didn't hear anything about them, and then all of a sudden they were famous.
I really wish they would have released a first album of their first demos, because there's something genuine about them, and that's what Foul Records was about. It was always about just putting stuff out. I mean, even our records, when we first put them out, they might have sounded like garbage and not been the full production that we wanted, but there was a genuine thing about them. So I love their first demos. Screamer is still, when I listen to the first version of Screamer, I think it's brilliant.
In a short space of time, the green, inexperienced Maryland youngsters had improved dramatically. And now, with the help and advice from Jimmy Haha and his band, Good Charlotte started looking for a record deal.